In this segment, we're going to cover startup, priming, and shutdown of the CATalyzer 2K system. We're going to start with initial startup. When you first get your pump, you unpack your pump, you're going to get it set up, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the pump pressure regulator counterclockwise, and we're going to close the ball valve. Second thing we're going to do is atomizing air. We're going to turn its regulator counterclockwise, and we're going to shut that ball valve. We're going to bring main air into the pump, which is on the right hand side, and we're going to take our fluid hose. We're going to attach the yellow hose to the quad valve fluid outlet, our red atomizing air hose to the atomizing air out regulator on the left hand side of the pump. We're going to take and attach our hose to the gun, red air to the air inlet on the gun handle, and we're going to attach our fluid hose to the fluid inlet on the gun. We want to make sure that all these connections are tight, and once you've tightened down these connections, we're going to take and add cat throat lube to the pump fluid section for the base, and we're going to add throat lubricant to the catalyst fluid section. And now we're ready to start our priming. In the first part of the priming procedure segment of the video, I pointed out what we're going to do when we go to prime the system up and get it ready to spray. I'm going to do it now. There's times that the pump's going to be a little noisy, so I'm not going to be saying anything at that time. I'll be stopping the process to point things out as I go along. Starting with the first procedure out of the 15, we're going to fill the catalyst tank. The first thing we want to do is make sure the ball valve is closed on the bottom of the catalyst tank. We're going to fill up the catalyst tank with catalyst. We're going to drop the pickup tube into the base material. We're going to check to make sure that our fluid outlet to gun from the quad valve is closed. We're going to make sure our pressure relief valve is closed. We're going to make sure both our bypass levers are in the up position. Our catalyst valve is shut off. We're going to screw in our bypass. Open up our ball valve for the pump. Now what we're watching for here is to make sure we get all the bubbles out of our base side. We're watching this tube to make sure the bubbles are out, we're getting a good flow. We're also watching the catalyst line coming out of the quad valve back into the container to make sure we have all the bubbles out. To help facilitate getting the bubbles out, we're going to raise and lower the catalyst lever. Now once we're sure all the air bubbles are out of the system, because the quad valve will not operate, the mix guard will want to pop up if there's a difference in pressure ratio in the quad valve. Now we're going to screw out the base valve. We're going to bring both our levers down at the same time. We're going to bring our pressure up to about 40 psi. To the pressure relief valve, we're going to relieve a little pressure out of the system, just a little bit, just enough to make sure that we're equalized. Next step, we're going to slowly open up the ball valve to the gun. We're going to spray a little material just to make sure that we're going to get catalyzed material out of the gun. It only takes a few ounces. Next, we're going to turn the mix guard to the on position. We want to make sure it turns freely. Now we're ready to spray. In this segment of the video, we're going to show you setting up the gun, bringing up the atomizing air, getting the pattern set right, and doing a test spray. But first I wanted to recap briefly the priming procedure, which is really important. As you remember, the first thing we did was we closed a valve in the catalyst tank. We filled the catalyst tank up with catalyst. We put our pickup tube and our base material. We brought our main air into the main air regulator. We brought our pump pressure up and let the pump cycle with our levers in the bypass position. Once we saw the bubbles disappear from the catalyst tube and bubbles disappear, we knew we were primed well. At that point, we brought our levers down, brought our pressure up on the pump. Now we're ready to go ahead and set this up. We're going to turn our mix guard on after we purge the pump to make sure we have mixed material. We're going to turn our mix guard to the on position. We're going to set our pressure at 40. Now we're ready to do a test spread. We're going to give it just a second to purge the hose. So we're going to do a couple of little test sprays here just till we get material to the gun. Letting that run for a second. Now we can hold it 6 to 8 inches away. Pull the trigger, the pattern. You can see we have a couple little tails on each end, but it's nice and full in the center. Do the second one. So we're going to start bringing up the atomizing air. So we're going to bring the atomizing air up to about 10 pounds. We do a test spray, trigger pull. And see that our tails are disappearing. Now we've got a nice even wet pattern, but tails have disappeared. We can do a quick cast across just to make sure we get a nice full wet pattern. Now we're ready to go ahead and spray the boards. Alright, you finished spraying some doors. You're going to have to move some doors around. You're going to be setting the gun down for a short period of time. The pump has a safety device that causes the mix guard to come up after a short period of time to make sure that we stay on ratio. So when you do shut down for a period of time, you just want to turn the mix guard to the off position. When you get ready to spray again, you're just going to prime it again by using the relief valve, making sure. Now, turn your mix guard to the on position, and you're ready to start spraying again. In this segment of the video, we're going to show you the shutdown procedure. The shutdown procedure is very important, especially with post-catalyzed materials, that we clean the quad valve out in your hoses so it doesn't set up and cause problems later on. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to lower the pressure to 0. We're going to raise up the levers. We're going to turn the mix guard to the off position. We're going to raise the pickup tube out of our base material. We're going to bring the pressure up slowly. And now we're going to flush all the base material back into the container. Once we flush that back into the container, we're going to put our pickup tube into solvent. We're going to screw in our catalyst valve. We bring the pressure up. We're going to pressurize the system. We're going to take the air cap and tip off, put them into a solvent container. We're going to slowly flush solvent through until it's clean. Start getting clean solvent through the system. Once the clean solvent is flowing through the system, we're going to let off the gun. We're going to take and we're going to drain our pressure relief valve to clean any catalyzed material out of the inside of the quad valve. Reduce the pressure off the system, raise up the black lever and you're set to leave it for a period of time. If you're going to leave it for more than a few days, you might want to drain the catalyst out of the catalyst container and put solvent in, circulate solvent through it, and then you'll be done with your shutdown procedure. One last note. The catalyst and base material reduction. If you reduce your base material, you must reduce your catalyst the same. In other words, if you do a 10% reduction to base, you must do a 10% reduction to catalyst. You may use any compatible reducer for your base coating and catalyst.